Needs to be seen.
Right. Okay. Well, I was going to move out of the way.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Valley Best Shalom. It's really nice to have everyone here. I'm Rabbi Farkas, and I'm joined by Cantor Baron and other congregants of ours. We're also on Facebook and on YouTube, and it is Kabbalat Shabbat as well as Shabbat and Hanukkah tonight. So we'll be lighting candles at the beginning of our service tonight. If you would like and to join us, go ahead and grab a Chanukiah and some candles, and we'll all light together. Excuse me. We want to give a special welcome to those who are joining us on Facebook and on YouTube tonight as we get ready to bring in this Shabbat and this wonderful Hanukkah. Cantor Baron, so glad to see you. I hope you're doing well this evening.
Great to see you, Rabbi. I'm doing great. I'm just trying to get out of the way so everyone can see the candles. That's the important thing.
I love that. Okay. Why don't we go ahead? So the order for this as we begin, you want to maybe play an opening song and then we'll light the candles together?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll do how about a little Hanukkah song?
Perfect.
Yeah? Okay, we'll do a little Hanukkah. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Hag Yafe Kol Kach, Or Saviv Misaviv, Ki Le'yeled Rach. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Sevivon Sov Sov, Sov Sov Sov, Sov Sov Sov, Manayim Batov. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Chag Yafe Kol Kach, Or Kaviv Misaviv, Ki Le'yeled Rach. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Sevivon Sov Sov, Sov Sov Sov, Sov Sov Sov, Manayim Batov.
That's beautiful.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim hahem ba'azman hazeh.
And while we're at it, as we have the Hanukkah lights lit and ready for Shabbat, we also should light our Shabbat candles. And Shabbat blessing at the same time.
Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, b'mitzvotav. V'tzivanu, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, v'tzivanu, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. I da 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 da. I da 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 da. I da 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 da. I da 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 da.
Beautiful. We want to wish Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach to everyone around us joining us today at Valley Best Shalom. We're about to begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service. So if you have a blue siddur, go ahead and take that out. You can find it on our website at bbs.org under the Valley Best Shalom at homepage as we begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service together on page 13.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ברוך הוא לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. נריע נריע לצור ישנו, נקדמה פניו ותודה. נריע נריע לצור ישנו, אביל מירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. כי אל גדול, אדוני הוא מלך גדול על כל אלוהים. כי אל גדול אדוני, מלך גדול על כל אלוהים. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. 40 שנה הכות בדור, ואומרם תועל לבבם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשבעתי באפי, אם ימון אל מנוחתי. אור זרוע לצדיק. Light is sown for the righteous. Or Zarua Latzadik. Let's let some light in. Or Zarua Latzadik. Or Zarua Latzadik. Hi, rai, 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 rai. Tzadikim b'Adonai v'hodu lezecher kodsho. Simchut tzadikim b'Adonai v'hodu lezecher kodsho. Ay, 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 Latzadik, Or Zarua Latzadik. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu, Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu. We're on page 19. Romemu Eloheinu romemu, romemu Adonai, Eloheinu romemu, romemu Adonai, Eloheinu romemu, romemu Adonai, Eloheinu romemu, v'ishtachavu lehar kodesho, v'ishtachavu lehar kodesho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, romemu Adonai Eloheinu romemu, romemu Adonai Eloheinu romemu, romemu Adonai Eloheinu romemu, romemu Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Yai doi 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 doi. Yai doi doi doi. Yai doi 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 doi. Yai doi doi doi. Havur Adonai B'nei Eli, Havur Adonai Kavon va'on lai lai lai, Havur Adonai Kevon shemo hishtakavu l'Adonai v'hadrat kodesh kol Adonai al hamayim el hakamod hakamod yirim Adonai al mayim rabim kol Adonai bako alay lay lay kol Adonai v'hadar kol Adonai shoer arazim v'shaber Adonai eter zehalmanonai yarkirem kemo kemo eger levanon v'siryon kemo kemo v'reimim lai 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 kol Adonai onsev labotesh kol Adonai yachil midbar yachil Adonai midbar kadesh kol Adonai yechol elayalot ma yechesov yeharot v'hechalot kolo merkavod lai 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 Adonai lama mol yashava yeshev Adonai melech leolam Adonai ons le'amo yiten Adonai yevarek et amo mashalom ay dai 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 ay dai dai ay dai.
Beautiful. We continue with Lachadodi on page 221.
Lichadodi Likrat Kala Panei Shabbat Nikabela Lichadodi Likrat Kala Panei Shabbat Nikabela Shamor ben Zachor b'diburecha Ishmianu El Hamyuchad Adonai Echad Ushemu Echad L'Shem תפארת בלי צילה, חדוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת קבלה, חדוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במצבה תפילה, חדוני רק קלה, בני שבת קבלה, חדוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, בואי בשלום עצרת בלה, גם שמחה ובשורה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, חדוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת קבלה, חדוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, חדוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת קבלה, חדוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Before we move into our Mariv service, I thought I'd share just a word of Torah. Kenner Baron, were you planning on doing Psalm for Shabbat or not?
It's up to you, Rabbi.
That's okay. I was just trying to get a sense of where we're going. What I thought I'd do is just share a word of Torah before we begin Mariv, because it's such a beautiful night. It's finally cool here. It's actually below 70 degrees today in Southern California, which means that we are in the dead of winter. And, tonight it's going to be in the 40s, I think. So I hope everyone has their parkas to be nice and cool. But at this darkest and coldest time of year is when Hanukkah falls. And if you just take a look at these beautiful candles here, I have the Shabbat candles and the Hanukkah candles glowing brightly. The idea being, of course, that when it is darkest, at the darkest moments is when we bring light. But I want to think about for a minute, just before we move into Mariv, about miracles. So many of us think that miracles are things that go against the rules of nature. In the Torah, it says often that it is the splitting of the sea or the revelation of Mount Sinai, any of those amazing plagues that happen, any of those things are considered to be miracles because they are seen as the divine entering into the human space, changing the laws of nature and therefore changing human history. But then we have this Hanukkah holiday, which it's very hard to pinpoint what is the miracle of Hanukkah itself. And that's because if you look and you read the book of Maccabees or you read even in the Talmud, it's hard to figure out where God showed up. Where did God actually enter into human history, change the rules to create some kind of miracle? And there are three miracles of Hanukkah that I want to lift up for you today. The first is the story of Hanukkah itself. Actually, let me do it in the order since I presented it. The first is what we know when we tell our kids about the Hanukkah miracle story. That after when time for rededication of the temple, after the liberation, we found a small little piece of oil, put it in the lamp, and it lit. And we thought it would only last 1 day, but it would last 8 days. So for some, that's the miracle, because that looks like God entering into history, into the human experience, changing things and therefore changing the course of history, changing the future. And that certainly could be construed of a miracle in a very traditional sense. The second miracle of Hanukkah, though, is one that a lot of modern people like to look to, and that is this idea that this small ragtag group of plucky Jews were able to cast off the yoke of assimilation and cast off the yoke of oppression from the Greek and the Greek Empire. And so the victory of the small over the many, of the devout over those who are trying to crush the faith of the Jews, that is a miracle. And for those, you don't need God necessarily to enter into the human experience to change the future, because we did it ourselves. We stood up and we rebelled and we fought. And that makes a lot of sense to a lot of people too. So that's the second miracle of Hanukkah. So the first one feels very magical and mystical. The second one feels very sociological, if not militaristic in its approach. Let me tell you about the third miracle of Hanukkah. And to understand the third miracle of Hanukkah, you have to understand the world we live in today. We live in today a world that you don't really feel God entering into the human experience very much, if at all. Any of us would be lucky if we ever felt like we were a part of something even just bigger than ourselves, let alone experiencing the divine presence. And secondarily, I don't know that we would necessarily, in our time period, really just feel that a military victory is a religious victory. And that doesn't feel comfortable to many modern Americans. And so what is this third miracle? This world that we're entering into, what is the third miracle? And I want to put it to you like this. 1,000 years ago, when the story of Hanukkah happened, there was the military victory. And we don't know for sure about the oil, 1 days versus 8 days. But this is what we do know. We know that the Hasmoneans, the Maccabees, when they showed up in the temple and saw it completely ransacked and destroyed, when they saw the tables overturned and the altars destroyed, when they saw the menorah bent and broken, when they saw the city itself burned nearly to the ground, and they saw people that were exhausted, elated because they won a victory, but exhausted, they looked at this moment, this great moment of disruption, and they decided to do something. They decided to rebuild. They looked at the temple and they said, we're going to rebuild that. They looked at the darkness of the world around them and said, hey, we're going to rebuild that too. And more than, to me, than the little cruise of oil that was only supposed to last 1 day but lasted 8 days, more than that being a miracle, it was the decision to light the menorah at all. You ever think about what it would take when you look out at the world and see it languishing and just say, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let that beat me. I'm not going to let this reality be the reality. I'm going to actually fashion a future. And I might not have all the materials at hand right now that I need, but I have faith in myself, faith in the people around me, and faith in the future itself that I'm going to do something. And so when that priest put the oil in the lamp, the act of faith wasn't that it was going to burn for 8 days. The act of faith was that it was going to burn it all. And that by the light of the menorah, the miracles come. By the light of the menorah, when you look at where we are in the world and know that a vaccine is coming. By the light of the menorah, when we look at where we are and know that there will become a time when we can hold hands again. By the light of the menorah, when we can look out at the world and know that you can find your job again or find a new job, be able to feed your family or clothe your children. That's the light of faith. A belief that the future is still possible, a belief that the future can be better than the past, a belief that the future can be brighter than the past. That's the miracle of Hanukkah. That we stood up for something, and not only did we win, but we kept working to make the world better. And so as we go into this Shabbat of Hanukkah, and we add one light to the next, I want you to remember that the miracle of Hanukkah is not some fancy thing where God just showed up and said, I'm going to change the future. And it's not just a military victory against oppression. It's the decision itself that in the aftermath of such a victory, that the world is worth building. The world, the temple, our community is worth building, and a future is worth having. So I want to wish all of you a Shabbat Shalom as we continue with the call to prayer with Baruch Hu, our Blue Sidor, on page 28.
Yada dai dai dai, 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 yada dai dai dai. Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. Yada dai dai dai, 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 yada dai dai dai. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. O ma'avir yom u'mevi laila, O ma'avdil ben yom u'ben laila, Adonai tzevaot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Haravim. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Amchavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, V'shochveinu Uvekomeinu nasiha bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu, Yorech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla. Ve'avatecha tasir mimenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levavcha, ubechol nafshecha, ubechol meodecha, Vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha u'maderech uv'shochbecha uv'ekumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha Vehayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Please continue silently or join me if you like on the top of page 31. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael, v'amarta alehem, v'yasu lahem tzitzit, al kanfei vigdehem ledorotam, v'natenu al tzitzit hakanaf, betil techelet, v'haya lachem letzitzit, oretem oto, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We're on page 32.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, תורה תהילות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, תורה תהילות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. מלכותך רעום עניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. מלכותך רעום עניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, תורה תהילות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. זה אלי, זה אלי, אנו יעמדו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, תורה תהילות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. Lai 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 lai. Ai lai 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 lai. Ai lai 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 lai. O sefele. ונאמר כי פנה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 33 is the Hashkivenu, a prayer for peace. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. God should give us shelter and love and peace and rise us up to life. V'rosalenu sukat shlomecha, spread over us that shelter of peace. V'taknenu be'etzah tova min lefanecha, and give us your good counsel. V'hoshienu l'ma'an shemecha, and save us. V'hagem ba'adenu v'haser me'alenu. Oyev dever v'cherev ra'av v'yagon. V'yaser masatan milfanenu u'me'acharenu. Protect us, O God. Turn away from us all the bad things of the world, from pestilence and sword and sorrow, hunger. And protect us from those things which try to deceive us, both in front of us and behind us. U'b'tzel kanafecha tasirenu. Rather bring us under the shelter, the shadow of your beautiful wings. Ki el shomrenu matzilenu ata, because you are like a mother who guards her children. Ki el melech hanun rachumata, because you are God full of grace and compassion. V'shvartetenu uvavenu l'chaim u'lishalom, and may you protect us and bring us into a place of life and peace. May ata v'ad olam, now and always. V'rosalenu sukat shlomecha, and spread over us that shelter of peace. Baruch atah Adonai pares sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Praise to you, God, who spreads over the wings and shelter of peace upon us, upon Israel, upon the beautiful Jerusalem, our home city. We continue with Amen. We continue with the prayer for Shabbat, page 34, Vishamri.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל שמי לקודשא בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו amen.
On page 35 and following, we find the central prayer, the Amidah prayer. I invite you to take a couple of moments of prayer and reflection and meditation, and if you're able to please rise at this time. A few moments of silent prayer. As we come out of our prayers, I just want to welcome all those who are with us on Facebook and on YouTube. I saw Carol is with us, and Eileen and Lisa, Shirley, Debbie, Ami, Susan, Natalie's with us, Natalia is with us, Celia is with us. Just want to acknowledge all those who are out there who are joining with us. Francine and Gloria, really nice to have everyone here. I want to wish you a healthy and wonderful Shabbat. we conclude the Amidah and move on with our prayers.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Lechol Hashalom, Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Lechol Hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol leit u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Continue on page 48 with Kaddish Shalem.
יתקדם מכן השמן רבה, בהולמד יברח ינוצא וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון וחד כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו, יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא, בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם ימה בהימרו, תקבל צלון הון ובדוכון כל ישראל, קודם בעבודם ושמי והימרו, יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו, עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו.
Continue with the words of Aleinu, page 51.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש, ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים יסר ארץ. אדוני מדורתו, אינו נלכין לקבל ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
By the light of these beautiful candles, we remember those who are no longer with us, grateful for everything they've ever done for us, the blessings of their lives for us, and the blessings we give to each other in their memory. Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish, is found on page 52. And if you are in mourning, observing a yort site, or would just like to remember someone you loved and had a friendship with or were in family with, On page 52, you can join me with the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yikadash Shemei Rabbah. V'yoma divra chirutei v'yomich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'me'almaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'kudsha brichu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiram b'yama v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen oseh shalom b'mirmav. Aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May God give comfort to you if you are in mourning or observing a yard site. You may be seated as we bless this beautiful day together. Cantor Baron, it's so lovely to see you. Yasher Koach on a beautiful service.
Thank you.
Do we have any announcements you'd like to share for having Shabbat?
Yeah, just one more time. Tomorrow night, Nefesh Mountain will be doing a concert from Levon Helm's barn in upstate New York. Levon Helm was a famous member of the group called The Band. If you're familiar with the song, Pulled into Nazareth, I was feeling about half past dead, and many other great tunes that they wrote. They were Bob Dylan's band for many years. And so from Levon Helm's very own barn in upstate New York comes Nefesh Mountain, a bluegrass group that, you kind of think, bluegrass and prayers and Judaism doesn't really go together. Somehow it really works beautifully when they do it, partly because there's such wonderful musicians and lyricists. And it's going to be a really joyful Hanukkah with Nefesh Mountain. So invite you to join tomorrow night so we're going to, at 6 o'clock, I believe, Rabbi, we're going to do our candle lighting. And then immediately after that, we'll do a couple of songs. And then right after that, we will be broadcasting the concert with Nefesh Mountain from upstate New York. So that's a big deal.
That's beautiful. And in addition, we're celebrating Hanukkah all week long. On Sunday, we have our second of 2 drive-in candle lighting experiences in the parking lot. We do a concert. There's lots of secret giveaways, and we light candles together right from your car. Totally safe through the COVID safer at home order, and totally fun experience. I believe there's only a few slots left in the parking lot, so please make sure you RSVP. It's completely free for VBS members. We'd love to see you there. Sunday, there's a 4:45 slot and I believe a 5:45 slot, so please look at your calendars for that. Monday night, every night of Hanukkah, there's something great. Monday night is the edible menorah contest. Doesn't have to be dessert, can be made of absolutely anything. That will be curated by Rabbi Hoffman and the head of our food service, our very own Eric Levine, LA Kosher Catering, will be curating and judging your edible menorahs as a fun little trick. On Tuesday night, there is more programming. On Wednesday night, there's more programming. On Thursday night, there's more programming. Every night next week, there's something to do for Hanukkah. You just have to go to the VBS website to find that out. Anyway, we are so glad to have everyone here, especially those who joined us on Zoom, our friends that are here, as well as those on Facebook and YouTube. We'll close out the service together. Cantor Baron, I leave it to you.
Sure, a little Kiddush and then a little Ma'oz Sur. How about that?
Perfect.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotov v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehila lemikrai kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabat.
Amen.
Ma'oz Sur Yeshuati Lechana Shabeach Tikon Beit Tefilati Vesham Todan Nizabeach Ve'etachin Matbeach Mitzar Hamna Beach Azegmor Bashir Mizmor Chanukat HaMizbeach Azegmor Bashir Mizmor Chanukat HaMizbeach. Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom to everyone. So glad to have everyone here. Have a lovely evening. Stay safe, stay home, stay healthy, and we'll see you back here in the morning. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.